Ladies and gentlemen, what I have in front of me today is the official lawsuit from the XRP community / the people against the SEC. And funny enough, it is also against Elliot Roisman, who just came in as the chairman of the SEC a couple of days ago, and boom, he is already being sued. So for all of you that do not know, the SEC sued Ripple a couple of days ago, and we were all looking for a new response as we all thought the whole document was quite unfair. They messaged or they talked about the fact that Ripple sold an illegal security, basically giving away an investment contract, but also that they frauded everybody, and the SEC did this in the name of protecting investors. However, as this whole document shows, what they've done to quote-unquote protect investors has basically turned out to be a complete massacre against investors as, well, most people involved with XRP, even though the lawsuit from the SEC against Ripple is only $1.3 billion, what they kind of lost in market cap because of the lawsuit was over $10 billion, basically losing way more money than they could have ever gained by filing that lawsuit. And so, protecting the investors, another part of it is, of course, the fact that they waited very, very long to get this through. And that's basically what this whole freaking huge document is about, guys, because there's so many points in here. I just spent a couple of hours reading through it, and oh my days, is it amazing. So this comes from John E. Deaton. As you can see here, that's the name of the man of the year already. I mean, I can already give him the Man of the Year award, even though they might not win. Doesn't really matter to me. They already got the Man of the Year award from me. John E. Deaton. Let's quickly check the names out there at the top. Jordan Deaton, James Lamont, Tyler Lamont, Mia Lamont, Mitchell McKenna, and Christiana Warner, and all others similarly situated, which are most likely quite a lot of us, actually. So to start off, the US SEC's mission statement is to protect investors, promote fairness, and share information about companies to help investors make informed decisions and invest with confidence. As chairman of SEC, it was Jay Clayton's fiduciary duty to enforce the SEC mission statement. Instead of protecting investors and sharing information to help investors make informed decisions, the respondent knowingly and intentionally caused multi-billion-dollar losses to innocent investors who have purchased, exchanged, received, and or acquired the digital asset XRP, including the named petitioners and all others similarly situated. So this one, I think, refers to the fact that it took the SEC 7 or so years to actually file this lawsuit. They had all the time to do it, and they didn't, basically not protecting the investors if there was any fraud happening over there. So I think it's pretty strange that they put this whole lawsuit up. It's also pretty funny to me how we've been talking about this, about how the SEC needs to be sued, and it will most likely come in about maybe like 1 or 2 years, we thought, but it was already here. And if you read through this, you'll notice that it really looks like they prepared this for the last like years or so. It kind of looks that way, honestly. It is so well built, and it's interesting to me because this has all supposedly been built after, at least 90% of it, after the SEC charged them. But all the points in here could have already possibly been picked up before, a lot of these CBDC points, for example. And basically, it is just really well put together. It really encompasses the fact that there's quite a lot of currencies and coins coming into the space. It is quite new. They did this improperly where they charged them even though they most likely should have either done this years ago or they're just going to lose more money now than they could have gained. And here in the last few years, Ripple emerged as the main challenger to Swift by offering instant cross-border payments utilizing XRP. Acting director of the Office of the Controller of the Currency, Brian Brooks, publicly stated that the government should utilize existing private companies like Ripple and its tech to replace the Swift system. I think that's also interesting, right? How the OCC, the Office of the Controller of the Currency, has actually said that Ripple, but both actually, XRP could be utilized to fight some current system, right? To actually get rid of a little bit of a monopoly to fight that, and still there's so many debates about it. The OCC, Brian Brooks, stated publicly that in the US, there are too many agencies in finance and banking. He openly asked the question, do we think it's best for the government to build a CBDC or utilize the private sector, which is already built? Brian Brooks, without questioning, was discussing XRP and the XRP ledger. There's no doubt it was XRP that he was referencing because he stated that technology to build a CBDC was already built, which, again, XRPL is a good example of. But the only issue was the lack of regulatory clarity, which is what Ripple's always been shouting. Another fun fact, guys, Ripple has been shouting about this for years, yet there are now more and more conspiracies coming up, and I really agree with them a lot more than before, that that this is all because Ripple wanted it. It's not because they deserved. Oh yeah, I guess it's also because they deserved, actually. No, it's basically Ripple wanted this. This was the only way they could get the clarity. And as Jesse and a couple of the other lawyers have said, the SEC could have charged them way differently if they really wanted to win. In this case here, the way they did it is just really loss for them. They just did a very strange job, even though a lot of the points are very clear and very fearful, in my opinion. I do believe eventually the SEC will lose still. Again, I'm not sure though, so it's not financial advice. It's not like I am a lawyer or anything, so I can't make up these things properly. I'm just thinking that because I think they just did a very bad job, a very bad timing, but I kind of see how that could be deliberate as well. All right, Brian Brooks has stated that the industry needs to know whether the SEC thinks XRP is a security, and again, that's all the conspiracy where they're saying this has all been done to just finally, after all this time, clarify whether or not it is a security, with of course XRP being not a security as end result. Ripple announced that it intends to leverage its payment platform and the XRP ledger for delivery of CBDCs, and they want to help them, of course. The World Economic Forum named XRP as the most relevant crypto for CBDCs by banks, which is also definitely interesting. David Swartz, whom we'll talk about a little bit later, Ripple's CTO, says that the XRP-L will bridge between CBDCs. In short, XRP acts as the bridge currency, emphasis added, because it's literally a currency in the middle of things. So that's definitely not the purpose of a security in that sense, as I don't believe Ripple has ever actually said the coin will appreciate in value. It's not necessarily the point of the coin. It's basically to be the bridge between two currencies, right? Which is, again, another currency then, in that sense, which I would definitely think is quite logical. XRP is also declared a non-security according to Japan's Financial Services Agency. US doesn't really care about that. Same for UAE, Switzerland, UK, all those countries. Literally, the US does not care about the fact, but Congressman Tim Emmer has also publicly declared that XRP is clearly not a security, and thus these things are kind of strange, right? Former CFTC, Chris Giancarlo, who heads the digital dollar project for the US government, has stated publicly in writing that XRP is not a security. And so what are we doing here? Right? Why are they doing this? I personally am starting to believe more and more that it is definitely now because they just want to give XRP that regulatory clarity. But then once again, I am not sure. It could also be just a bigger picture that they want to crack it all down because they're losing control over things. Who knows? I'm just going to try to do the nose thing because you guys said, man, if you, even though I don't really feel like I should. A lot of you guys said, man, if you ever have your nose plucked and you don't do that shit, it really triggers me. It really triggers me. But I don't think there's anything. But all right. The Office of the Monetary and Financial Institutions Forum, OMFIF, which I didn't know too much about, produced a report on blockchain tech and discussed the advantages of XRP as an alternative in payments. Bytex, an exchange in the UAE that offers XRP, is expanding in India with a wallet trading platform utilizing the crypto asset Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and so forth and so on. Deal, partnered with Coinbase, which sells XRP, launches a crypto payroll tool that allows international workers to be paid in those coins. It's just used as a substitute for fiat currency. Another one here, substitute, currency. SBI is connected to them. Novati partnered with Ripple to enable real-time remittances between Australia and Asia, basically using XRP as the bridge. Goldman Sachs' former executive resigned and goes to work for Ripple, related to FX markets. As stated, SBI was testing XRP in the FX market and the global FX market equal to $1 to $7 quadrillion. IMF, in its publications, lists two digital assets that can be used as a bridge currency, XRP and the JPM coin. Wow. In 2015, the DOJ and FinCEN categorized XRP as a virtual currency. Hence, internationally and in the United States, XRP was being described as a as a currency, virtual currency, or commodity, or utility token, but definitely not a security. And we can go on for quite a little while right here, because, well, as Ripple will most likely say in their new rebuttal, which is coming out in a couple of weeks from now, it could definitely be so that Ripple will also say that all these laws which we're talking about right now can just be disregarded. Even though the US, some of the guys over there have said that all the different bodies of the government can actually classify a entity differently. For example, the FinCEN can regard it as a currency, the Security and Exchange Commission can regard it as a security, and the IRS can regard it as a commodity. It could happen all at the same time, which was definitely strange, but US is sometimes strange with these rules. The digital asset XRP and Ripple are well known to the respondent and officially in the U.S. government in 2015, the U.S. government entered into a cent agreement over Ripple's XRP sale to well-known Bitcoin and cryptocurrency advocate and investor Roger Ver. Ripple paid a fine for this XRP distribution and agreed not to establish a Ripple and or XRP wallet, so forth and so on. Let's go to point 61 though. Also, another point, no, there's actually, this one is also important. I read it all, but it's really difficult because it's a lot of freaking pages, guys. It's a lot of stuff here, and I don't know which points exactly because I didn't write it down. I was just reading and I was like, man, this is all so interesting. This one I remember here as well. The fact that Clayton said, if it is a security, we will regulate it, but if it is a security, we will regulate it. That part, I believe, could also be referring to the fact that it has never been actually called a security before. Bitcoin and Ethereum have been called so, but it could also be that this is really just their purpose to kind of figure it out the official way because there's no other way to really do it. Also, we can establish, you can read this part, it's not that important. You can establish that ICOs and what they're doing right here is definitely not the same thing. Let's go to point 61. I found that one very, very interesting. Look at this right here. So, despite the warnings by Chairman Grundfest and knowing very well that the filing of an enforcement action declaring XRP as an unregistered security would cause innocent investors with absolutely no connection to Ripple or its executive to lose billions of dollars, the respondent filed the enforcement action. Strikingly, they did not limit the claim, as they did in other token cases, to specific distributors of XRP directly from the respondent. Instead, the SEC declared all XRP, including the XRP owned by the petitioners, and all other similarly situated as securities. So basically what they did is they could have gone for all the XRP that Ripple distributed or basically sold to other investors and called those securities because that's what Ripple really issued themselves. But basically, XRP cannot be called a security in its totality, in its entirety, because, well, you and I could just literally own XRP without having anything to do with Ripple at all because it's not Ripple's coin. You know, it is a Ripple, centralized in the sense that it's owned by Ripple mostly coin. However, it is not Ripple's coin. And if Ripple were to go out of business right now, XRP would still survive. So calling the coin that is decentralized a security that you and I own is very strange. However, you could say that Ripple did make an investment contract with those parties. I mean, that you could argue for. If Ripple will accept that, I don't think so, but you could argue for that one. And so those might be called a security. But all our XRP is a very strange claim. And that, of course, made investors very sad. As expected, there was an immediate and irreparable damage inflicted upon innocent third parties, including the petitioners and all others similarly situated. Within 48 hours of the SEC's declaration that all XRP constitute illegal unregistered securities, the following happened. Let's quickly read this. XRP was immediately delisted from 54 exchanges, while other exchanges halted the product entirely. Bitstamp on December 25th informed the public that XRP trading and deposits will be halted on January 8th. Simplex stated this, Bitwise, bitrue. Posts were made on Twitter from XRP holders saying that life savings had lost 80% of their value and they may suffer total economic losses. Financial source companies like iTrust Capital allow IRAs to switch from fiat into crypto, including XRP, and innocent investors saw their retirement savings practically wiped out. There are discussions on Twitter of people questioning whether they should just commit suicide because of the financial damage inflicted by XRP's loss of value. Coinbase has decided to suspend all the XRP trading. BTC2 says we'll stop XRP trading. Crypto.com is delisted. There's no question that all exchanges doing business in the United States are going to follow the suit and not run the risk of being charged with selling illegal securities. And XRP's value has been cut by 75% at the press time of this petition and is likely to fall further, costing billions of dollars in losses for innocent investors that have absolutely no connection to Ripple or its executives, including significant economic losses incurred by the named petitioners and all others similarly situated. I think that one was definitely quite interesting. And let's quickly check out where MoneyGram exactly was. I'm just going to do Command F, type in MoneyGram. Okay, so point 51 here. I think it was actually another. No, it's all on point 51. Okay, I missed it then. Whatever. Although the SEC and or Clayton did not affirmatively declare XRP a non-security similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin, its actions implied that XRP was in fact not a security. During the time period, the SEC now claims XRP was an unregistered security. The SEC granted Ripple permission to take a minority stake in the publicly traded company MoneyGram International. Ripple invested $50 million, purchasing approximately 9% of MoneyGram. See the SEC complaint, page 58, thingy 4. The SEC approved this purchase of MoneyGram with the full knowledge that Ripple would encourage MGI to use the digital asset XRP as a cross-border utility token related to remittances. So, a very important part you need to know about this one is the SEC allowed Ripple, as a private company here, to invest a lot of money into MoneyGram, already thinking, however, because this is not too long ago, that Ripple was owning, quote-unquote owning or distributing a security, and they knew very well, the SEC knew, that they would also make MoneyGram use it most likely, because that's one of the points in their lawsuit that they complained about. Hence, the SEC allowed the use of this so-called illegal security to be utilized not just by Ripple, but also by MoneyGram. The SEC admits to this knowledge when it states that Ripple paid money transmitter significant financial compensation, often paid in XRP. See complaint, page 58. The SEC knew that MoneyGram would sell. Is it, by the way, point 58 or page 58? I actually do not know. I think it's just page 58, actually. The SEC knew that MGI would sell XRP in the secondary markets to investors, such as the named petitioners and all other similarly situated. Hence, it appears the SEC, believing XRP to be an unregistered security, provided consent for XRP to be purchased and or utilized by MGI, and then sold in secondary markets to innocent investors with no connection to Ripple or even MGI. Purchasers of XRP on exchanges do not know the identity of the seller. So the basic point of this one is, let's quickly see. I don't know officially where the most important parts about this all are, but I could just tell you guys, one of the most important parts to understand is also what has been said on Twitter right now. Let's quickly check that out to see if I can find it again. The MoneyGram highlights are solid. Devastating, actually. You can't approve MoneyGram to utilize XRP as a bridge currency and then later claim XRP as a security. So basically, there's two things, right? One, of course, is the fact that they're claiming basically that they forced or they were only providing XRP to companies for the further uses of XRP, which is, of course, what Ripple's XRP that they have is owned for. That's really what they should be doing, so that's quite logical. But also in a different sense that the SEC allowed Ripple to invest in MoneyGram, but the SEC didn't actually want that because it is securities, but they allowed that. And then later on, they were just saying like, okay, but you could not have incentivized other players to utilize XRP, even though that's mainly the purpose of why they have the XRP. And it all kind of goes around in circles saying the SEC is just wrong with what they did. It's just very Clayton. Very bad. And the SEC and Clayton did not protect investors that they swore to protect because they lost billions of dollars by doing all of this, and it's basically very freaking stupid. The only points which I cannot completely talk about is Brad Garlinghouse's money. Chris Larson's money, I've already disregarded now because I personally think, right, that Chris Larson, Arthur Brito, and Jim McCallum were founding this cryptocurrency and the company then. They can do whatever they want with those coins. They founded it. Same thing how Ethereum founder and I guess Satoshi Nakamoto and everybody who's founding a freaking project can sell whenever they want. If they sell Holly, if they sell everything, that's kind of weird because, well, you're not involved with the crypto anymore, so that's, I think, a little bit odd. If you sell, however, a part of it, I do think that is completely fine because you may also enjoy your riches. Same kind of way as in how some founders of companies sell some stock eventually. You might want to live the rich life. I do completely get that. Even though we shouldn't compare the two, I do get the fact that you might want to sell some of your coins if they're worth more. Also, another fact that's important is these guys didn't just instantly off the bat have billions of dollars, right? They built this currency out to be something bigger. At the start, they didn't have a lot of money either. You know, you can basically see it as you just had to wait a very long time. Satoshi Nakamoto wasn't a billionaire off the start because Bitcoin was worth almost nothing. So, yeah, it's also because we accepted it back in that day that it has all this value right now. If nobody accepted it back then, it wouldn't have any value right now because people would have said, man, Satoshi Nakamoto has 1 million. No, we're out. We don't want that. We don't want anything to do with that. Either get rid of all your coins or we're out. But that didn't happen. And the rest of this is basically just once more going after the fact that, for example, the SEC chairman left, which was definitely quite strange. As stated, the new chairman of the SEC, Elliot Rodman, has publicly denounced this approach, which is another explanation of XRP. The SEC complaint against XRP is that the SEC is confused as to how digital currencies fit in the regulatory framework. As stated, the new chairman of the SEC, Elliot Roisman, has publicly denounced this approach. The SEC Speaks 2020, Mr. Rodman stated, "We should not use are enforcement powers to promulgate and set new legal standards, emphasis added. Chairman Roisman expressed concern that regulation by enforcement can undermine the rulemaking process in the Administrative Procedure Act, which provides for public comment, emphasis added. Former SEC Chairman Grundfest warned Clayton not to file the enforcement action and cause such damage when no exigency existed. Not only did Clayton, unlike Chairman Roisman, encourage public comment, Clayton wouldn't allow for comment by the incoming administration that was assuming control in less than 30 days, which is funny because now, since Jay Clayton left, all this administration and all this trouble has basically just been picked up right now by the new administration, which to me is definitely quite interesting to take a good look at, but all right. So yeah, what do you guys think about that though? What do you guys think about this part? And here, let's see, United States District Court, District of Rhode Island, and the first one is also Rhode Island. Let's quickly check it out. Also Rhode Island. This one is 28 pages. This one is, let's quickly check it out. This one is, where was it now? This one is 61. This one is 69 pages. 69! I don't actually know what the complete difference of this one is, or maybe it's just stated twice. Let's quickly check it out here, what exactly this is all about. It has, okay, this one goes on way longer. Oh, this is a bigger lawsuit. Oh, this is a way bigger. This actually goes and talks heavier maybe about the Howey test here. Let's quickly see how these two things compare. This one goes to all the way to 69. Yes. So at least my personal difference in these two is the first one is basically a complaint against the against the SEC for XRP specifically. The latter part here, I believe, is more so in the way that how securities are handled and how cryptocurrencies should be treated fairly, and right now they aren't. However, this one is a very long lawsuit with not that many very important points, in a sense that everything we kind of see in here is already known, and it is basically just an attack. Or no, sorry guys, I should say actually a defense. Even though they're also vouching for XRP, it's nothing really new in this sense. It's just kind of a vouch for making XRP not a security because they shouldn't be one, right? And it's a very good explanation, as you can most likely see with all the emphasis being drawn here. It just is a kind of a also comparison to what everybody has said, and what everybody has been announcing. DBS, for example, Singapore's largest bank and the 6th largest bank in the world, declares XRP is better and faster than SWIFT. This use case alone makes XRP a non-security. So forth and so on. They said in the lawsuit that XRP has no use case except what Ripple is pushing on it, but even that they've only done recently. And even then, it's still not believed that it is not a security. Now they're emphasizing all that XRP can do, and so forth and so on, also what they've been called. I don't know officially, because I'm not a lawman, as to why these two things are put into completely different brackets, as they kind of, at least to me, come up as the same thing. However, maybe it's to bring a better point, which is why they split them up here. But that I do not know, guys. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know completely why they would go for such things. But I do find it definitely quite interesting. And I do think it's a very important part for all of you guys to read if you have some time here. Because it's definitely interesting to see how people are just, first of all, so smart to be able to do this. I find that already very fascinating. Very fascinating to me. And also, just the fact that they're trying and they're not accepting the ruling for XRP, guys. There's a revolution happening here, which could be that the SEC, in the end, actually wants to just push XRP through. But it could also be that they really don't. Let's quickly read the conclusion here. The petitioners take no position on whether some early distributions of XRP sold directly from Ripple or its executives constituted securities at the time of those specific early distributions. That argument is between the SEC lawyers and the lawyers representing Ripple. The petitioner do note, however, a digital token like XRP or Ethereum can be created without it being a security. That doesn't mean that no laws apply, not security laws. There are consumer protection laws, banking laws, anti-fraud laws, anti-money laundering laws, unfair trade practice laws, unfair competition laws, and etc. That can be triggered to protect investors and allow a fair playing field and disgorge ill-gotten gains from bad actors. The petitioners, however, have demonstrated well beyond a preponderance of evidence that today's digital asset XRP, very important emphasis on today, because again, at the start of everything, it might have been different, but that's not the way it is right now, and these currencies are evolving since there is no real standard and there's no real guideline. The XRP existing in the accounts/wallets of thousands of US investors, including the accounts of the named petitioners and all other similarly situated, are not securities. Many of these investors do not know anything about the company Ripple. Some of these investors, including the petitioners and others similarly situated, may very well purchase XRP speculating that its price would appreciate. Some investors buy exchange tokens or utility tokens and speculate that the price will increase. This did not cause it to subject to federal security laws. As I mean, a lot of guys actually buy euro or dollar because they think it's going to appreciate in value as well. I mean, I know very many Forex traders. You think they're not here to make money? When the SEC went after coin companies and individuals during the ICO craze in 2017, it is puzzling to understand why the SEC did not go after Ripple and its executives at that time. In 2017, the SEC was well aware of the facts regarding Ripple and XRP, it alleges, in its complaint against Ripple, yet Ripple and XRP were left alone for more than 3 years. During that time, the digital asset XRP not only traded publicly on market exchanges, but the use cases for XRP grew exponentially. Independent of Ripple, use of the XRPL grew with parties and entities unrelated to Ripple. As stated, one independent entity, Flare Networks, developed blockchain technology first utility fork in efforts to bring Ethereum-based smart contract to the XRPL. I must interfere here. Not completely true. They're calling it an independent entity. However, Ripple has invested quite a lot of money in this whole Flare situation, right? So it's still not completely independent. We cannot call it that. So I hope they have done their due diligence. But all right. And a snapshot of all XRP addresses took place with almost all XRP holders, including the XRP addresses of the named petitioners. The petitioners and all others similarly situated are scheduled to receive the amount of Flare tokens equal to the amount of XRP owned at the time of the snapshot. The SEC and Clayton were fully aware that this airdrop was occurring related to XRP. If they honestly believe that XRP is basically a security, then why would they have not prevented the airdrop? If today's XRP are securities, what are Spark tokens? Arguably, if the SEC is correct and XRP is a security and Spark tokens are derived from those securities, Spark token could be classified as securities as well. In May 2020, Ripple informed the SEC that it intended to make a distribution of XRP pursuant to its ODL platform. The SEC did not prevent said distribution of XRP, yet 7 months later, the SEC is now claiming that the same very distribution of XRP was a transaction involving unregistered securities. Without question or doubt, that May 2020 distribution of XRP found its way into the secondary trading markets and was purchased by investors who may have never heard of the company Ripple. Investors who purchased that same XRP have lost almost 80% in value of the token since the time of filing of the SEC enforcement action. Soon, in January of 2021, that same XRP allowed by the SEC will be untradeable in the United States. If it's untradeable in the US for American investors, it's useless and thus a total loss. People's life savings have been wiped out because of improper, unethical motives of the respondent. There are many who will claim XRP was a bad investment for the petitioners and all others, and they took that risk. For example, many BTC maximalists have described XRP as a shitcoin. Any reasonable person after reading the above listed facts can understand why an investor took certain risk when investing in XRP, but whether an investment is a good one or now should be decided by the market, not the government. The risks that investors, including the petitioners, knowingly took was whether the private and or publicly markets would utilize XRP's tech to the point of mass adoption or very limited use. Petitioners and all others similarly situated did not knowingly assume that risk. After 7 years of being openly traded right next to Bitcoin and Ethereum, the SEC and Clayton, with improper motive and a reckless disregard for innocent investors, would file an enforcement action against the third largest crypto, declaring all XRP as unregistered securities, resulting in the destruction of billions of dollars for innocent investors' wealth. Whether defendants, it's a little stretch here, but we're almost there. Whether the defendants' assault on XRP was politically motivated, personally motivated, or an exercise in prosecutorial bullying tactics to drive settlement, the SEC and Clayton intentionally harmed investors. Wow, my reading is not the best anymore after 30 minutes. Harmed innocent investors with no connection to Ripple. The fact that Clayton filed the most significant SEC enforcement action since the seminal 1946 Howey case, despite it involving the digitalization of finance and money, so significant of an issue that cryptocurrencies and CBDCs were the biggest topics of the November 2020 G20 summit. On the last day of Clayton's tenure as the SEC chair, with the opposing party assuming control of the SEC in less than 30 days, after being warned by the former SEC chairman about the unprecedented loss investors would incur in and of itself, speaks volumes regarding Clayton and SEC's motives and actions. Maybe XRP is a bad technology or a bad investment. The markets, not the government, should ultimately decide XRP's fate. Maybe Ripple and its executives should be held liable for their early distributions and suffer disgorgement. Even if XRP was a security and the CEO and co-founder suffered disgorgement, the ecosystem likely runs. Adherence and network traffic will continue. Consensus nodes still run, including the SEC node running on the XRPL. In other words, the XRPL continues with or without Ripple. These facts demonstrate that the XRP, the petitioners, and all the other similarly situated purchased, independent of Ripple, are not securities. The UK FCA probably classified XRP correctly as a hybrid asset acting as both an exchange token and utility token. Of course, the IMF has classified it as a bridge currency. In Japan, XRP is being used as a payroll and or payment currency. Regardless of what XRP is or what it is called or how XRP is used, there's one thing for certain, and that is what it is not, which is, again, a security. Whew, so that was a lot of talks, right? Whew. Hopefully you guys have gotten a better picture now. I'm quite convinced. However, we're still waiting for February for Ripple to come on over. Huh. That's crazy, guys. That is crazy. Check out Webull. You can get a couple of free stocks for checking it out. And I talk about GSX sometimes. You don't have to check it out once more. You can, however. It's a pretty cool coin. However, there are some issues with it, which you guys have called out. I've really addressed most of those claims. However, none of this is financial advice anyway. Check it out, link down below. It's a kind of a gold-backed coin. Looks kind of interesting. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video. Once more, none of this is legal advice. None of this is financial advice. Take care, everybody. I got my mind made up.